Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Strong language, mature scenes, and things that go bump in the night are ahead. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to cosmic entities from the great beyond, are strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I am your keeper this evening, Keeper Michael, and we are back with Queen of the Night, our Arkham Investigation series. We'd like to welcome you in as our investigation continues this evening. If you've not had a chance to find us in all of our many different ways, a quick rundown would be to find us on Patreon at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. We are excited for all the things that are coming in 2026 and beyond, and we hope you get a chance to join us for them. You can find us on YouTube and on Twitch at twitch.tv/theoldwaystwitch. And then over and above that, I want to thank our patrons and those who support us in many different ways, those who've seen us at conventions, and we've gotten your feedback. We greatly appreciate your listening ears and viewing eyes. And so now, our investigation continues, and it will begin with introductions to my right.
Hi there, this is Mike, and I'm playing Charles Thurgood, who has had a restful night's sleep after an interview with a mysterious lady in a lunatic asylum.
Quite true. And next to Charles.
Hi, this is Morgan, and I'm playing Annie Mae Thurgood. Our pronouns are she, her. And Annie is really excited about the opportunity to study Lillian a little more. Actually, and Amelia.
Yeah.
And probably Irving. I don't know. It's all gravy. Well, Irving, she probably wants to punch. But,
Certainly. A range of emotions from you, Miss Thurgood, have not surprising at all. And next to Annie Mae.
Hi, I'm Bunny, and I'm playing Detective Beatrice Locke. Our pronouns are she, her. And I'm going to have a day full of trying not to endanger anybody while also trying not to punch anybody's husband.
I wish you luck with that, Detective Locke.
Thank you.
And last, but most certainly not least.
Hi, I'm Allie, and I play Catherine Chamberlain, and I was really hoping these visions were going to be done.
You can hope in one hand and you know what in the other, and we'll see which one fills up faster, Miss Chamberlain. So I wish you luck. Lots and lots of luck. And so we're going to raise the curtain tonight on Arkham. It is November 4th. It is morning. And as the town of Arkham is bustling and beginning to move and churn again, there is the churn of the engine, which brings Detective Beatrice Locke to the home of the Thurgoods. There was discussion of a catch-up after some of the disparate investigations that have been going on. And I believe Detective Locke is looking for perhaps a way to consolidate the things that have been collected to this point. And so we'll pick up with you getting out of your vehicle, Detective.
Excellent. I sort of brace myself for the day, and I go up to the Thurgood's door. Give a good, solid knock.
Mm-hmm. Probably a knock that one or two of the Thurgoods would hear, but certainly not answer themselves, as they have staff that would do that for them. So you are greeted at the door by a slightly older woman, Miriam. You're somewhat familiar with her as far as just being around the household and having interacted with the Thurgoods before. And she opens the door and greets you pleasantly. Well, good morning. Can I help you?
Hello. I have business with your employers this morning, and I am hoping to catch them for a chat before we all leave together for the day.
Of course. Come right in. I'll go and let them know that you've arrived.
Thank you very much.
So Miriam avails herself of the halls and stairs and finds Charles. Very softly knocks on the door, perhaps to an office or a library or something of the akin, now that you're behind, and
Yes, I think I'm probably in my study, making notes on what I've learned and my various hypotheses as to what could be going on. Some a little more strange and outrageous than others. Yes, Miriam?
There's a member of the Arkham Police Department here.
Oh, is that Detective Locke?
I do believe so, sir, yes.
Oh, so do see her in. Yes, I'll come down. Could you make a cup of tea or something for the detective?
Of course, right away. Would you like anything else?
No, I'll have some tea as well, but yes. Yeah.
She hustles down and goes back to the front door, and of course, Detective Locke's already in, but she continues the invitation inside to stand here in the entryway and offers you a place to put any coat or hat you might have. It's November, so it's going to be a little bit cooler, but barring any need to shed any of that, she would just say, I'm going to go and make some tea, and Charles will be down momentarily.
Oh, thank you. I'm so sorry. I was so rude. What was your name?
Oh, I'm Miriam, ma'am.
Miriam, thank you so much for the hospitality. I appreciate it.
Of course. She moves back towards what you assume is the kitchen.
I'm going to walk past Annie Mae's bedroom, knock on the door. I think my study is maybe upstairs, just kind of in a room next to my bedroom. So I'll knock on her door as I'm going towards the stairs. Annie Mae, I don't know if you're in there, but Detective Locke is here if you want to come down. I'm going down. Miriam's making some tea.
I had books all spread out on my bed, and in paper I was studying the clues that we have found, or the evidence. Slam them closed and say, all right, thank you, I'll be down in just a second. I just need to freshen up.
All right.
And I'll shove my books back under my bed, and I, freshen up and put my hair up in a bun and go downstairs.
Okay. Waiting for the both of you is Detective Locke.
Detective Locke, good morning.
Good morning.
Bright and fresh, I hope, on this chilly November morn.
Indeed. Thank you so much for your help with everything. I know that...
Oh, pish and tush. It's nothing at all.
I know that last night you had things you wished to discuss with me. I hoped we could do that, not to invite myself rudely to breakfast, but either over breakfast or after breakfast I could meet with you and we could discuss on our way over to talk to Amelia, since we have that appointment at her house.
Breakfast, what a capital idea. I haven't eaten yet this morning. One moment, and I'll just go and stick my head out of the door and just shout, Miriam, could you rustle up something to eat and something for the detective as well, please?
Right away, sir.
Thank you. Miriam is an excellent cook. I'm sure she'll whip up some boiled eggs or kedgeree or something along those lines.
She does seem quite nice. I look forward to having a cooked meal by her. That being said, it sounds like we have much to discuss before we're at Amelia's house later this morning.
Of course, to business. Yes, indeed. Let's cut to the chase. Where is Annie Mae?
I come stumbling down the stairs. Hello, dress. Excuse me.
Oh, careful, that stair rod is loose on the third step down. Just watch your step there, Annie Mae.
I feel like the spirits are trying to kill me.
Good morning, Annie Mae.
Oh, Detective, lovely to see you this morning. You are looking refreshed as always.
It was one of the better nights for sleep this week so far, so
Wonderful to hear.
I'm hoping that's a sign for the day.
Oh, yeah, well, we can all hope. Did I hear you have Miriam rustling up some breakfast in the kitchen?
I do, yes, indeed. Shall I ask her to put on some bacon for you or something?
Oh, I can do that. I mean, Charles and I've already discussed what he talked about with Lillian and what we think is going on. I'm gonna go help Miriam in the kitchen, make sure she doesn't burn the bacon. She is amazing, but she tends to burn the bacon and the sausage. So, do you like your eggs a certain way, Detective? Like, poached, boiled? Do you like eggs?
I'm sure whatever you present will be lovely.
Perhaps a nice large plate of scrambled eggs. That'll see you right for the day.
Oh, yes, that sounds like a very hearty breakfast. Thank you. Thank you, Annie Mae.
Now, Detective, yes, you have questions.
Yes. We get to talk to Amelia this morning, which will be great. Sounds like her husband helps keep her sedated most of the time for health reasons.
Sedated?
Well, Annie Mae managed to speak to her a little bit while I was talking to the husband, and it seems like she stays medicated most of the time. So I'm hoping we'll get to speak to her properly this morning.
What ails her? What is the medication necessitated by?
I am not positive. The husband alluded to her having some form of stress condition since what happened to her family, but I don't know if that explains all of it. And Annie Mae was the one who got to see or speak to her, not me. So there was just a lack of clarity when she spoke that suggests a more sedate.
I understand. So a further interview you think would garner additional information from her?
I am hoping, and that is what is going to happen at 11 a.m. today. And so, considering she doesn't have much family, and we know of the only relatives that she has, and you spoke to one of her sisters, I'm hoping that might give some clarity to the situation as well. And then I find it interesting that nobody knows where Myrtle is. The youngest sister seems to have just fallen off the map. She worked for a little while, and then there's just no record of her anywhere. So if we can figure out where that other sister is, she might actually be the missing piece to this picture. But I'm hoping you can fill me in on the eldest sister so that when we talk to Amelia, I'm not asking her needless questions about a potentially stressful situation, because it sounds like Amelia misses her sisters, but her husband does not want anything to do with her sisters for reputation's sake.
Yes, I know the type. I don't really know what to tell you, Detective. I interviewed Lillian under the watchful eye of her doctor, but she is an unusual character. She is certainly not, in my amateur, unprofessional opinion, of completely sound mind. Some of what she said was rambling and somewhat logically incoherent, I think would be the way to put it. She spoke of the fire when she and her sisters were children, and she intimated that the information that we have on record from the newspapers is not factually correct, that in fact, to put it frankly, she told me she had started the fire herself. Whether or not that is true is another matter.
Interesting.
I asked her about her lineage, what she knew about her ancestor, the so-called witch Anne Whitlock, and her daughter Mary, and this imp that we read about, Hop Little, I believe his name was, or its name was. When I asked her about that, she did not answer me in a straightforward manner. The master, something about the master, she called him. She didn't specify who this was or what this was, but she said she was going to be brought to him, or they were going to be brought to him. She was vague about the whole thing. I got the impression that she, and particularly her sister Myrtle, were a little closer to this idea of the supernatural, the uncanny. She told me that, in fact, that her sister had at some stage fallen pregnant.
Oh dear.
Now, whether that means that she has a child and it lives, and well, perhaps the reason she has not been seen is because of this, because perhaps there was a degree of shame and embarrassment for this single young lady to become with child, and she was whisked away to some out-of-the-way place. Now, what's more, in connection with that, Lillian told me that her aunt, who I believe had been bringing up the three sisters after the fire, was in fact herself a midwife. So it is entirely possible that her aunt brought Myrtle to term and delivered the baby herself.
It sounds like we need to talk to her.
I am not entirely convinced that the mother and the aunt and the sister Myrtle of Amelia, I couldn't say. I have this feeling that they're up to no good, if you catch my drift. I think they are intrinsically linked with this bad business that goes on in Robin's Hill, whether it is the sister Myrtle and the aunt who are directly responsible for these cruel acts of butchery and murder on the hill, or whether it is other parties that are connected with them. I really couldn't say, but I think we should be, if we do speak to the aunt, I think we should be on our guard.
Well, I want to speak to the aunt anyway, because I believe that she's the woman in the police sketch that I have from the party on Halloween.
Really? Indeed it would.
A woman about twice the age of Myrtle, who has an idea of who college students are, or where they congregate, but is not known by anybody in any of their circles, who happened to whisk this young man away, knowing how to poison him in a way that would get him out of there while he was still somewhat conscious and walking on his own. It could definitely be the aunt.
Indeed.
I'm not certain, but I have a feeling like that is related. And then I cannot shake the fact that I think that Myrtle is also intrinsically involved in this. So I definitely understand your concerns and believe what you're saying. But if Amelia cannot lead us to Myrtle or her aunt, and Lillian has not been help in that regard, we need to find a way to find them. We have most of the jigsaw puzzle put together. We have all the edges. We have the sky done, but there's a section in the middle that is keeping us from seeing this picture in its full. And I think that they would be the pieces necessary to put that middle section together.
Well, now, detective, tell me, have you an open mind?
I would like to think so.
Are you receptive to the possibility of things out with normal experience being involved in this particular investigation? Or at the very least, of people believing that there are such things as the common person, such as you and I, do not become involved with on a daily basis, things that are out with our realm of experience.
Sir, how do I put this respectfully? I came to you with a situation I believe was a cult trying to ritually sacrifice somebody. If I did not have an open mind to maybe people think that they are experiencing things outside of the normal or can channel things outside of the normal, I would probably be approaching this in a different mindset.
Very good, very good.
I am willing to try to understand that people are experiencing even more with all the mentions of witches and things involved in this, but I did come to you under the guise of, or under the assumption of, this might be a cult trying to do some weird ritual. These might be ritual murders. And so I'm already trying to open my mind to, why would somebody do a ritual that involves a human's blood and entrails? Why would people have constellation carved candles or the like? I am trying so hard to understand beyond myself. This whole case is beyond myself.
That being the case, my belief, after some additional researches I have been doing in my library, some old texts that have matters of a similar turn involved in them, it is my belief that, now whether this is truly the case or not, I am not even going to begin to speculate, but it is my belief that the sisters, these descendants of Anne Whitlock, are attempting to make some compact with dark forces in order to have vengeance, to bring revenge upon the townsfolk of Arkham who brutally, in their eyes, brutally murdered and cast away their ancestor, Anne Whitlock. It is my belief that there is a very strong possibility that they are committing these heinous acts in an effort to bring Anne Whitlock back from the watery grave where she was laid to rest. The woman that called herself the Queen of Night. To that purpose, Ms. Lowe, she has a fascination with birds, particularly corvids, and there is a correlation there with the certain black Sabbath rites and so forth. And one thing that she told me, which is beyond belief, but she clearly seemed to wish to impress it upon me, was that there's some transmogrification involved with her sister Myrtle and such creatures. That Myrtle, as far as I could make out, is able to transform herself into a bird.
Transmogrify?
Something of that ilk.
I'm sorry, sir. That is not a word in my normal vocabulary. What do you mean?
To change, to take on the form of another creature.
In a literal sense, she can literally become birds?
This is the impression I gained from what was told to me by a woman of a nervous disposition. Is that the right phrase? Of an eccentric frame of mind? So, to be taken with a pinch of salt.
I am going to take it with a whole pickup truck bed of salt, but I will note this either way because, again, I am trying so hard to have an open mind, but a woman changing into a bird is so beyond how I grasp reality that I think I'm going to have to put a pin in that, Charles, for my own sake, until we have evidence towards that.
I understand, indeed. I could quote you chapter and verse throughout recorded and non-recorded history of this type of belief. I think the important thing, from my perspective anyway, to grasp is that we may not believe this to be truth. We may not believe this to be physically possible. But if the people that you are investigating believe it, then we must place ourselves in that same perspective and frame of mind in order to be able to gather their motives and their next move.
Which is why I'm not writing it off completely. I'm making a note of it. It's just going to be hard for me to fully run with that until I understand more of that mindset. Anyway, either way, I will make note of that. I think it's interesting, though, and I don't know if you'll find it interesting, that all three sisters are under constant supervision. Amelia's constantly under the supervision of her husband and his very intense butler. Lillian's under constant supervision of her doctors. Myrtle potentially is under her aunt's supervision and guidance. All of them are being constantly under the thumb of somebody else in these circumstances and being kept separated, which I think is fascinating.
Well, how about this? If we go to their house to visit Amelia and her husband, why don't I engage the husband in conversation, and that will allow you and Annie Mae to speak with Miss Amelia?
I think that would be fantastic. He is a very old-fashioned gentleman with a house decorated mostly in Edwardian era antiquities. So I think that you would be the perfect person to be the distraction.
Yes, I'm sure we may have a couple of social acquaintances in common. And I may be able to glean from him some idea of precisely what his intentions are with regard to how he is reacting to his sister-in-law's behavior and his wife's illness.
I think after breakfast, I would like to stop by the police station to check on one thing very quick, and then we'll get to the interview with Amelia.
Yes. So what we're going to do is say that y'all have breakfast, and it's wonderful. The three of you, with Miriam's assistance, and of course Annie Mae watching very carefully on sausage and bacon, have breakfast. After which, you pile into the car, and you and the detective head to the police station to check on something. And so while you do that, I'm going to go and see Miss Chamberlain. So, Miss Chamberlain, the evening, your sleep really is not very restful. It is plagued by dream after dream after dream of different places around Arkham. An old, drafty house, perhaps a lake bed, an old cottage in the middle of the woods. Just different places and spaces. And these aren't dreams of you walking there in first-person perspective, not through your own eyeballs. This is you touring these with third-person perspective. You're not up in the air, though. You seem to be roughly human height from the ground. But you feel like there's something on your shoulder. You keep sort of rubbing into something on your right side, your right arm.
Does it feel like an animal, or
No, you can't really get the feeling out. It feels like someone's brushing your arm with like a broom.
that's weird?
Yeah, the sensation is very, very strange. Very strange. But what it totals for you is a night of sleep, which is just exhausting, unfortunately.
Kind of garbage.
Yeah, if you or our listeners have ever had a night where you wake up and you feel more exhausted than when you went to sleep, then that's the kind of night you have.
So do I wake up in the middle of the night and stay awake? Or do I wake up late for a morning class? Or do I just wake up exhausted and, dreading getting on with my day?
I think you wake up late. I think you missed first class. I think you feel like you don't want to even go.
Then chances are I probably don't.
Okay.
I'm a studious individual, generally speaking, but if I'm coming down with something, or this is the aftermath of trying to deal with everything that happened to my parents, I would probably, honestly, rather than dealing with class and all of those, things that are important but also trivial right now, I think I would actually probably go to the hospital to see my parents if they'll let me.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly put yourself together throughout the day and then go to St. Mary's and see your parents. That's where they're at. It is sometimes referred to as a teaching hospital, but it is a full hospital. So you can certainly go there. So we will have you on the way to St. Mary's. We'll stay with you there on the way to the hospital. And upon arrival, so St. Mary's Hospital that you're going to go to is luckily not very far from you. It is in the campus district in Arkham. So you head from where you're at to not terribly far away, and then you find yourself in front of the hospital.
I would go in and I would let them know that I'm the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Chamberlain, who were brought in yesterday with severe wounds and everything else.
As soon as they acknowledge and understand who you are, they understand why you're there. They know the patients, and they send you up to the third floor where your mother and father are resting as best they can in a single room. There's a couple beds in it. There's a varying array of curtains and not staff in there, but they're nearby on this floor. The nurse checks you in at the third floor desk, and then you get shown to the room where your parents are at.
Are they awake, or are they still?
No, they are still unconscious. I would say that they would let you know that your parents did both regain consciousness, but they are, because of the severe pain that they're in, they are being treated with medicine, which is going to make them drowsy.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll probably sit with them for a little while, and I'm probably not going to talk because I don't know what to say, and I will probably cry. while I'm there because both of my parents have been almost removed. And honestly, probably after that, I would actually probably go back to the police station. I'm already not attending class. I might as well see if they have any information about who did this to them and why.
Okay. While you're there with your parents and you're sort of in a difficult state, you begin to mull over what it must have been like to be in the house and what it must have been like to be accosted in the home. The scene still plays through in your mind pretty heavily. Blood on the floor, the blood on the walls, your parents collapsed, having to wait for medical services to arrive. It's very difficult. Give me a listen roll.
39 under 50.
You hear the handle of the door move before it opens. You can hear it. Now, this is November in Arkham, which means the curtains are not open. The windows, most definitely up here on this floor, are not open because it would be far too cold. Your parents are both, relatively speaking, bundled up under sheets to keep them warm. They are motionless as the door opens, just ever so slightly, and a dark-haired form walks in.
I just stand there because it's like I don't really know what to do.
The form shuts the door.
Good.
And there's a movement from its chin, and its profile is oddly familiar. A set of very intense emerald eyes look at you.
What do you want?
It takes a step closer to you, closer to your parents. Raises a very deft hand, and with a crooked finger presses it to its lips. If you know what's best for you, girl, stay quiet.
So the chair that I was sitting in, is it bolted to the floor?
No, it is not bolted to the floor.
So I'm going to grasp the chair and move it in front of me. Stay away from them.
She holds up an open palm. You see on the open palm there is some sort of artistry that's been done on her hand. It's a design. It's an intricate design. And it looks like it might have been carved into her hand. Like the underside of her hand looks like knotty wood that someone has carved into. You deserve to know your mother is a liar.
What are you talking about?
It's your father too, but I've got no problem with him. He doesn't matter. She takes another step closer. She's just outside arm's reach now. We don't have the luxury of large hospital rooms. Not in this era. They are small.
I'm going to hold my ground, but grip the chair tighter with the intention of lifting and heaving if she takes another step closer to me.
Your mother knew, and she hid herself behind some fancy name, Chamberlain. She stares back at you through those emerald eyes, and you can feel like a real heaviness start to land on you. The whole room feels really, really heavy.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that they're like drilling into my skull at this point, especially since I'm not looking away.
It's really difficult because she's not looking at you with angst or hatred. There's no malice in her eyes, but her voice doesn't match that. They took it from us.
Took what? From who? I don't even know who you are.
You walk through the fields, you ride the wind, but you can feel it. You don't know who you are, but you can feel it. You can hear the crows.
Everybody can hear crows. They make noise.
Yeah, but they don't sit on your shoulder and whisper to you.
I've never had a crow do that.
Not unless you're one of us.
One of who? And now I'm getting kind of indignant because the cryptic riddles, all of that doesn't resonate with me. I'm superstitious, but I'm not superstitious like that. Now I'm just getting mad.
She turns her face to look at your mother. Blood is one thing, marriage is another. You've been poking and prodding into things that everybody else says you shouldn't. You go wandering around on Robin's Hill anytime recently? Falling out of trees, maybe?
Who are you? Speak plainly. I'm tired of the game.
Make a power roll.
36 under 80, which is a hard success.
Very good. She looks at you, and when she looks at you, you feel a flare of indignation in her. And you hear her voice, and it thunders through your mind. And she says, "This is no game. I'm not playing games with you. You've been wandering around this city not knowing who you are. And these two," she gestures to your parents in the bed, "kept it from you. And they did it on purpose because they feared you. The Whitlock line has always been connected. Always. You just need an opportunity to realize your power."
That may be true, or it may be false, because outside of some strange dreams, I don't exactly have any proof of power. If I have something like that, I don't blame my parents.
I do.
Yeah, I don't care. You're not taking them from me again.
Really? We'll see about that. If you know what's good for you, you'll meet me at the Goody House tonight.
That's only going to happen if you swear on your life and your afterlife that you will leave them out of this.
I don't make any oaths.
And that's your problem, isn't it?
Unlike you, I don't have parents to lose.
No, but your pride and your dignity are on the line.
She cackles. Pride? Dignity? What they stole from me? I should burn this whole hospital down just to prove it to you.
And yet your behavior says otherwise.
The master doesn't care an inch about their lives. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about them. Perhaps that's what you need. Perhaps what you need is a proper punishment. Make a power roll.
So that is a 20 under 80. I'm going to burn 4 luck to make it a 16 and make it an extreme success.
Okay, very good. I have a 15 under 125. Lose 12 points of POW.
Oh, Jesus. Like for my base stat?
Uh-huh. Then make a sand roll.
81 over 54.
Yep. Go ahead and lose 3 points of sand. You feel yourself, your sheer and fiery and always available willpower wilt in front of this woman. She takes that and crumbles it like a piece of paper with a single word, which you cannot even fathom what it means. It's not in any language you've heard.
It's just like a jumble of sounds, basically.
Yes, it is a jumble of sounds. It does not sound like anything you have heard before. It takes you a few moments to recover from such a force because it's the word that echoes around inside your head that does all the battering. Now, if you know your history, Goody Fowler kept a place south of town. I'll see you at nightfall. The door shuts just as your vision and brain gets a hold of itself. Your parents, which of course is your first look, seem undisturbed. Detective, you pull up at the police station.
I hop out of my truck and, in theory, leave the Thurgoods in it. Whether they choose to stay there will be up to the fates, I suppose. But yeah, I'll run inside.
You run inside. You see a familiar face who is scrambling about the desks here, and that is Detective Stuckney. There seems to be a fracas going on. There's a lot of people moving around when you come in. It's wildly busy.
What's going on, Stuckney?
Check the door, he yells to the back room. Because you guys are out sort of on the main floor, he pulls you like just slightly aside, carefully, but slightly, and he whispers to you, "There's been a break-in. Someone last night broke in here and they got into the evidence locker."
Shit, what did they take?
Well, among some of the other things that were probably in there, the bowl is missing.
She's going to put her face in her hands for a second while listening and just
as is that blasted sheet we found on top of Robin's Hill.
They're going to do something soon. I can just tell. I mean, otherwise, it wouldn't have been so urgent right now.
We are going to scramble everyone we can. Of course, we're going to have complete and top to bottom inventory of everything that could be in there. They made a real mess of the place. It's like they let a wild animal loose in there.
I see. This is going to sound apropos of nothing, but I need you to hear me out. Do we know anything about the green Model A that was seen the night of Halloween near Robin's Hill?
Well, I have been trying to follow some of that up. I know the chief wanted to be off it. He's worried about the old gut, but I did a little bit of work when it came to that. The green Model T traces back to really honestly no one special. Looks like there's just a misconstruction. I talked to Miss Pellegrino, and I got to the bottom of what she was talking about. Come to find out that her cousin was killed by some of Dean O'Banion's men back when we began to have problems with them in the bootlegging here.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she was trying to connect O'Banion's boys to this job, trying to get him blamed for something else that we would look into him more.
Oh, I see.
But as I kept following that lead, I went and talked to that boy, Eddings. Right? He was doing some looking at the stars or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's fairly credible evidence that states that truck belongs to a man named Willard, a Maurice Willard. I had actually, before this fracas here, I had planned to actually go this morning and, well, do some direct questioning of Mr. Willard. His truck seems to be far too on the nose for it to be just another coincidence.
Absolutely. What do we know about Mr. Willard?
He's nominally a gardener. There's a gardener for several of the finer families here in Arkham. His work is excellent. He's somewhat obsessive about what he does. But it just doesn't make sense that his truck would be there in the middle of the night. There's no trimming the verge at 1 a.m.
I think that he might be relevant to my case. I think that, let's see. God, the pieces feel like they're so close together. There's a young woman, Myrtle, who worked briefly as staff in some nicer houses, but hasn't been seen in some years, who I also think is involved in this. I wonder if they met at a residence that they both worked at the same time.
Well, he doesn't have many customers because he doesn't need many with them being so well-to-do. I do know, at least from what I've heard, the reason I'm going to go over and see him is because I've tracked down where he may be staying at. He lives in the caretaker house on the grounds of the Humboldt house. And so you can certainly get a hold of him there.
That's wonderful to know. You have no idea how helpful I think this will be.
What about you?
We might be dealing with witches.
What?
I don't know how to make this sound rational. They're descendants of Anne Whitlock that are connected to that bowl that's from that family. And they're in town, and one of them is in the psychotherapy hospital that's nearby and was talking about visions and a master and being compelled to burn her family's house down all those years ago, and just a lot of really out there things. But her sister Myrtle also seems to be interested in those topics, according to a consultant that talked to Lillian, the sister that's there for me. And if they're doing all this in some hopes to avenge or resurrect or otherwise delusionally involve their aunt's witch trial in this, and that's why they're using the family bowl for all these things, that would kind of piece these together. So I'm going to go talk to the only other sister I know the location of here in just a little while. I have an appointment to see her because she is effectively under house arrest. But I'm going to go see her at her home at a allowed time this morning and see if she has heard anything at all from her cousins or an aunt, Cornelia Lowe, who I can't seem to find location of. She was a midwife. I don't know if she's still in that line of work, but I would bet anything if we can find her, we're getting information that links all this together. Because an older woman that would match with what this family looks like overall, an older woman who none of the college kids recognized, took our victim from the Halloween party that night and drugged him at the Halloween party right before he was taken to Robin's Hill to be sacrificed. So the older woman could be the aunt.
You see the detective's eyes get a little wide when you say sacrifice so authoritatively. All right, well, I'm going to follow up with Maurice. You focused on what you need to, and maybe we can meet back in the middle.
You have no idea how helpful this will be. Thank you so much, Detective. This is instrumental.
And good luck, well, with Miss Moore. Or
thank you.
Now that she's married now, I suppose it's...
I appreciate you following these leads. I'm sorry about the robbery at the station that I haven't been here. Is there anything else that I need to know about before I leave?
I don't think so. One of the officers took Miss Chamberlain back to Miskatonic View last night. We offered for her to stay here, but...
Wait, what's wrong with Miss Chamberlain?
Have you not heard?
I've been tracking down more sisters.
He takes a really big, deep breath. To put it succinctly, Detective Miss Chamberlain's parents' house was attacked. Both her mother and her father were attacked. Both were stabbed very badly. And there was some disturbances inside the house that took place. Miss Chamberlain, she called us here, and then officers were dispatched along with medical treatment from St. Mary's. So they're there resting. It's my understanding that they're both alive.
Oh, thank goodness.
We had asked Miss Chamberlain to consider staying here at the police station, but she refused and was taken back to Miskatonic University. So
I see. I've been in touch with her quite frequently. I will check in on her. What a horrible thing. Though I hope that it isn't because I've involved her in this investigation that this has happened.
No, I don't think so. Although I suppose I'm not sure. That does seem like quite a ball of yarn you've got on your hands.
It is, but I'm grateful for the extra hands helping find the end strands that pull it.
Good luck to you with Amelia, then. I'm going to try to get to Maurice before he begins his afternoon clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Detective Locke will walk out of the station in a very professional way and then run to the truck. As soon as she's out the front door, it'll be a full sprint.
You run to the truck. So I'll just ask to make sure I know where the camera is going. Are you still heading to your appointment at Amelia's?
What time is it probably at this point? We've had some breakfast. We've stopped by the station.
I mean, if your concern is if you drive all the way to St. Mary's, you might not get back to Amelia in time. You will now be forced to choose.
This forced choice is going to be apparent outwardly to those in the truck with Beatrice as she sprints back to the truck, hops in the driver's seat, gets to the point of turning the truck back on, and then, when pulling out of the parking lot, seems unsure of where to go and just starts slamming her hands on the driver's wheel.
Just on that, have Annie Mae and I gone with Detective Locke to the police station?
Mm-hmm. You're in the truck with me.
Yeah, we waited. We were people watching.
Detective Locke gets back into the truck and then begins to have a bit of a break.
What's going on? Everything okay?
There's too many directions and no time. We need to get to Amelia before we miss the window where we might be allowed to see her appropriately. But the Chamberlain house was attacked, and I'm worried about Miss Chamberlain, who you met, the student that has been involved. Her parents were stabbed in their home last night.
Good Lord.
Oh, that's terrible.
Apparently, it was quite a scene. They are alive, but they are at the hospital. She's likely there visiting them today if she's not in class. But I worry for her. And then the bowl and the sheet that we found on the hill were both taken. The evidence room was broken into last night at the police station.
Good Lord.
And the bowl is missing. Something is going on. Something is escalating in this case. It feels like we're running out of time.
Do you think this attack on Miss Chamberlain's parents is in some way related to the case? Do you think Miss Chamberlain might be in danger?
I believe so, though my detective buddy inside, Stuckney, he didn't see an immediate connection. I worry that it's either because I involved her in the case or something separate going on with her that led her to that hill that night. That intrinsically is connecting her to this in a way that makes these inseparable as far as my investigation goes. I think something is involving her, whether it's because I involved her or not, is irrelevant. I think something is involving her. And I think that her parents paid a price for whatever is happening. And that I think that they weren't meant to survive it.
Maybe we should stop at the hospital then? Is on the way out St. Mary's?
It's too far out of the way for us to make it to Amelia's on time. I think we should go there immediately after.
I would say, given that there are 3 Arkhamites here in this car, it would be reasonable to potentially, because of course this is how automobiles work, especially in the modern day, but also in previous days, some of you might know shortcuts. I do think it's reasonable to make an Arkham history roll. All 3 of you get a chance to roll it. Well, I'll just say the higher degree of success, the more you could potentially chop off your travel time.
Right, let's see if I can get a high degree of success on my 8 in Arkham history. I know an extremely good shortcut. It's not going to take us many, many miles out of our way based on the 100 that I just rolled.
Funny, what'd you roll?
I got a 14, which is just under half for me.
So, Detective, you are somewhat familiar with a few different ways of driving. Now, many people might take Garrison Street, and the reason why they might take it is because it is a natural thoroughfare. It is probably one of the more developed streets. But you know that if you go down past the tracks, you take West High Lane and you then take a left on West Street, you could potentially beat your way there, but it will take a little bit of fancy driving for you to do so. So how is your drive?
It is the default amount, so it is 20.
I love that for us.
Agreed.
But here's what I'll say. Given your hard success on your Arkham lore, I'm going to give you an advantage die on your drive roll, because I can do that.
How does that work in this?
So you roll drive, and when you do, you're going to basically roll 2 tens dice. You're going to take the lowest.
What if one of them's a 0?
As long as the ones number is not a 0, you're okay.
The 4?
Okay, so Aught 4 is very good. That's 5th of 20 if my brain is doing math correctly, which means that's an extreme success. So you decide here and now that not only can you make it, you will make it.
I suggest you hold on, is what Beatrice will say out loud as she leaves the parking.
You leave the police station in your dust and begin traveling, hearing a litany of corrections from Charles about how you're going the wrong way. This will never work. You have to go this way because the traffic at this hour on this will be terrible. Seemingly, though, you are weaving around cars You are taking corners very, very sharply, unlike the truck has probably ever done before. The groan alone from the axles, Anime, is highly concerning. But you fire your way across the bridge at a top flight speed, and you pull up in front of St. Mary's Hospital. So inside St. Mary's Hospital, Miss Chamberlain, you have had a horrific experience, a terrifying one in some ways. But you regain your composure, and seemingly your parents are okay.
Well, I'm not dead. That's probably not a great sign. Like, I say that out loud to myself very quietly.
Seems reasonable.
I am going to leave the truck in a place that would be out of the way of an ambulance, but otherwise not park. I'm just going to pull up in front of the hospital and not go find adequate parking somewhere. And I will rush inside.
You rush inside. It does not take you long to determine and deduce where the Chamberlains are, and you hustle your way up to the third floor. The rest of the Thurgoods could certainly come with if that's what they want to do. They point you to the room, and I can imagine, Miss Chamberlain, you still sort of recovering, checking on your parents, visibly haggard there from the toll.
Yeah, I look like I aged like 5 years.
And the door bursts open, and you can feel, Detective, you can feel that something has happened in this room. The weight of the moment is far too heavy.
Oh, Miss Chamberlain, you're here.
Yes.
How are you? How are your parents? I am so sorry that this has happened.
Well, I don't think it's your fault. I don't even think it's my fault. Unless we fault me for being born. They're alive.
I'm glad that they're alive. Has something further happened? She's going to say, sort of rushing to your side and sitting down next to you, or crouching next to your chair if there's no second chair.
Oh, I'm standing.
Oh, then I'm just going to rush to your side with Annie Mae in tow behind.
Stay in the doorway, listening with my notepad.
She was here, Detective.
Miss Chamberlain, did you just say that she was here? Who's she?
The woman. The one that's out to kill everyone.
Can you describe her? Was she the woman from the party that you described before?
Yes.
I see.
She hates my parents. She blames them for hiding my power. And I'll like raise my eyebrows and shrug when I say that from me.
I see. So that she thinks you are also gifted, and she resents your parents for not encouraging those gifts?
Correct.
I see. Did she say anything else?
Yeah, that I'm to meet her at the Goody House tonight.
Please let me take you. If you do decide to go, please let me be the one to take you.
I did not plan to go alone. I was going to go down to the police station before you burst in.
I see.
Oh, can I come too? I'm really sorry to hear about your parents, Ms. Chamberlain, but I'm well versed in these occult / supernatural matters. I feel like I could be helpful.
I mean, the more help, the better, I suppose.
What are your plans for the day, dear?
I was just visiting my parents, and then I was going to check and see if there was any update on who did this, but I found out. But no immediate plans.
I dare say that this is immediately connected to the case that I'm investigating also. And I am about to go talk to somebody related to the case. But after that, I feel like what's going on with you needs to also be wrapped into this immediate investigation. If you wouldn't mind spending some time with me and the Thurgood siblings today, I think that it would be wise for us to stay close together and let me take you to the Goody House tonight And then I will just have backup waiting nearby in case something goes wrong. I'll inform the station to send Detective Stuckney out that way after he's done with his investigations for the day to meet up with me. Is that all right with you, Miss Chamberlain?
Yeah, that'll work just fine.
We will see where the investigation continues now, but it'll have to wait for the next episode. So thank you for listening to this installment of The Queen of the Night, our Arkham Investigation series. And we'll be back real soon with another discussion with more of the Moors. Thank you and good night.